Is Devon Larratt a bully at the table? What is next for Denis Cyplenkov? Is Jerry Cadorette overrated? All of these questions will be answered in this Arm Wrestling Q&A Part 10 video. So thanks for joining, hit the thumbs up and let's start. The first question is about the GOAT status. To answer this in short, I'm going to say that I kind of disagree with the current criteria for deciding who is the GOAT. And the current criteria is only revolving mainly around one topic, which is the longevity of dominance. That's it. And why do I disagree with this criteria? I think that maybe not intentionally, but this is kind of decided in a way to prevent John's legacy of being the GOAT. Not saying that there is another contender who can be called the GOAT. Certainly, there is no one as of now. But with this criteria, there will be no one in the next 50 years as well. Because to fulfill the GOAT criteria, as many arm wrestling legends like Neil Pickup and Engin Terzi have decided, you have to have a tremendous longevity of dominance, at least 30 years of dominance. And that criteria is never going to be fulfilled ever in the future. Let me tell you why. Can you imagine a 20-year-old John Brzezinski who won over the top tournament beating Levan Saginashvili of today? Can you imagine Bacho Saginashvili or Reno Masic who are dominant in today's world while being 18 and 18 years old, both of them? Can you imagine them beating Levan Saginashvili? It is never going to happen. A 20-year-old, 19-year-old, a teenager is never going to be the super heavyweight champion ever again in the future. So that's the reason why John is always going to stay the GOAT, and I don't like this criteria because it kind of neglects everything else. The dominance that you may have, the peak of arm wrestling abilities that you may be able to show. You may have a perfect winning record throughout your career, like Levan has not been beaten in last 6 years or so. And if he continues to be on the same path, let's say he's not defeated in the next 6 years as well, and then if somebody goes to the arm wrestling experts, is Levan Saginashvili the GOAT now? He has not lost in last 12, 15 years, whatever it is. Then those people will say, no, Levan probably needs to continue that dominance for 15 more years. And that is kind of an unrealistic expectation. Longevity should not overpower everything else. That's the reason why I believe this criteria needs to include many more aspects as well. Okay, in your opinion, if an arm wrestler cannot compete, what should be the rule for changing or excluding him? I've already discussed this multiple times, and I'll say, first of all, 1 year. You can have that window for any reason. If beyond 1 year you cannot compete, then there should be an interim title match. And once the interim title winner gets decided, the champion gets decided, then you and that winner will have the super match for the official final title. And that match should be somewhere around 3 to 6 months after that interim title match. So the maximum under the worst circumstances beyond your control, the maximum that you should be able to hold that title, including that period of the interim title, should be somewhere around 15 to 18 months. Realistically speaking, only 1 year. And yeah, they should be temporarily removed from the rankings after that as well. 1 year to 18 months. Why is Jerry so underestimated? Because his style works with only top rollers. The way he's improving, where do you see him in the near future? In the near future, Jerry has been arm wrestling for more than 30 years. It's kind of strange to ask for his future, and I'll couple this with another question that was asked, and that was about Jerry not being top 10. So first I'll answer that question. Jerry is for sure top 10. He has beaten Gennady Quickvinia, who has beaten Devon Larratt, and both of them are within top 10 of the world. So that alone, if Jerry never arm wrestled before that, according to current ranking system, today's ranking system, he would still be in the top 10. So I don't think that makes any sense. Why is Jerry underestimated? I don't think he is. He was for sure against Gennady Quickvinia. He won that match. But against Georgi Svetkov, were saying that he's going to just sweep Georgi. That's a mismatch. And Jerry barely won that match. It cannot get as close as that match was. Jerry was 2-2, or I think maybe 2-1. And his hand was like maybe a couple of millimeters above the pin pad. That's how close he was to losing that match. So he's only good against top rollers? No, I'm going to say he's much better against hook arm wrestlers. I don't know, for some reason all of the experts of arm wrestling with 20-30 years of experience keep on saying that Jerry is a nightmare for top rollers. I just don't understand how that statement is true. Nobody hooks and beats Jerry. It used to happen way back, more than a decade ago, but nobody does that recently. I know Devon also did that in one round, I think, yeah, one round or maybe two rounds. But people rarely do that. And Georgi Svetkov was completely neglected by the arm wrestling community. He top rolled Jerry almost three times. Gennady Kvikvinia, who isn't even a top roller, he top rolled Jerry Cadorette. So I don't see why this argument still holds some ground that Jerry's style works well against top rollers. I think he works well. His style works well against almost everyone. You have to have that immense level of dad moving hook power to beat Jerry inside. Todd Hutchings wasn't able to beat Jerry in a hook. That's how strong he is. Gennady wasn't able to do that. So we know now how strong Jerry is. Next up is about Larry Wheels. If Larry Wheels had a rematch versus Khalid, who would you pick to be the favorite? So Larry versus Khalid, and there was another question about Larry versus Ryan Bowen. I'm coupling these questions together so I can answer 12 questions, but it still remains 10. So Larry versus Bowen and Larry versus Khalid. I think right now, as of now, if this match happens tomorrow or next week, Larry would beat Khalid Jashel. But if you give Khalid a month or so to train, I think he's going to beat Larry once again, especially in that 6 round King of the Table format. His King's move, his ability to switch styles, I think it may still be too much for Larry and he may not be able to beat that. But Khalid needs some time to train for that match. If it happens just like that, Larry is going to win. Bowen, I think Bowen is way too versatile and now he's big enough as well, almost the same size as Larry. I think Bowen will beat Larry, probably 6-0. But the margin for error for Ryan will be very little in this match. He needs to execute everything perfectly. If he gets stuck in a hook against Larry, it's going to be over. And then the main question, let's talk about Denis Cyplenkov that people were asking. So who is next for Denis after Devon? Should he go for Hermes and then for Levan if he wins? I'll say the better question will be who is next for Denis before Devon, because that match has been postponed kind of, we don't even know till when. I don't know when this match is going to happen. For sure, not this year. Maybe not even early part of next year. Dennis must be frustrated to know that it was a big payday, big popularity day. I'm not saying Dennis needs that popularity because I've already seen in the algorithm Dennis gets almost as much views as Devon, sometimes even more views than Devon Larratt. So he's already more famous than Levan Saginashvili, in my opinion, very close to Devon. But it was a good payday and he would have loved to take that match, but it is not going to happen, unfortunately. So before that, I'll say the loser of Jerry versus Hermes Gasparini will be a good, suitable match for Denis Cyplenkov. But for his aura, for his pride, taking on a loser, although it is a loser of a world title match, it may not be suitable for Dennis, but that's what I want to see. Maybe even Dave Chaffee as a startup match, because Dave used to give him good battle in the past. Now Dave is not 100% and so is Denis Cyplenkov. He's also not at his peak shape. He's weighing like 20 kilos less than his peak shape. So he cannot be as strong. So I'll say Dave versus Dennis or the loser of Jerry versus Hermes versus Dennis. That's the match to make as of now. Alright. Do you think Indian arm wrestler have the chance to compete in East versus West? I don't think so. It is because Engin is not interested in Indian arm wrestlers for whatever reason. He keeps on saying that only the Indian arm wrestlers need to win WAF. I can invite Coach Ray, I can invite Derek Smith, I can invite Mehdi Abdulwad as much as I want, and probably a dozen more arm wrestlers who are way less popular than Rahul Panekar, let's say, and who have not won WAF or European or Asian anything, who have not even placed on a podium. Rahul has still placed third in the Asian Championships. He can invite all of them, but not an Indian. I think the arm wrestling community is going to realize this very soon. Ryan Bowen has started inviting. He's inviting Mazahir and probably Rahul Panikar as well for AWE 3, and that is going to show the world what Indian arm wrestling is going to be all about. Soon it is going to be just like IPL, where everyone would leave their own country's competition to compete here in India. Indian Premier League, you can ask any cricket fan how big Indian Premier League is. And I think the same trend can be seen in the next 5 years in arm wrestling in India. All right. What's the next question? Do you think Devon Larratt is a bully at the table? What's your take on Devon's behavior while competing? Devon himself admitted that he is a bully. Some people dislike that. They said maybe you said it jokingly. I said it both, kind of jokingly as well. And in some instances, when people say that this is getting so ridiculous, people are getting soft, we need to bring back bullying. I somehow agree with those statements as well. I'm not someone who used to bully someone or who used to get bullied by someone. So I'm kind of a neutral person here. And I do believe that yes, he is a bully and it is good for pay per view sales. I absolutely love Devon's style of promoting the matches, of trash talking before and during the matches. And as we all know, he's the most respectful arm wrestler after the match ends. Whether you lost to him or you beat him or you tore his bicep or something, he's the most respectful person after the match has ended. So I absolutely love Devon's behavior while competing. No, nothing to complain about that. When do you honestly believe you will peak with your subscribers? Which will so at first when I read your comment, like what is the peak of subscribers? Do you think it will start reducing after that? But then I read further, after which any growth will be slow. I don't know. That is a very difficult question. When will the arm wrestling community saturate? Like the bodybuilding community or fitness YouTube videos like push ups, bench press, gym exercises. Those kind of videos used to get more views than anything else almost 7 8 years ago. The trend started like 10 years ago, and everyone was getting tons and tons of views. And now you can see some fitness channels having 5 million subscribers and they get 50,000 views, 40,000 views on a video. So now that field has saturated. Maybe arm wrestling will also saturate, but that era is at least 10 20 years ago, 10 years away from us from now, that I'll say. So I can easily see myself hitting a million subscribers. Maybe it will take 6 years, maybe it will take 10 years. I don't know what the growth of arm wrestling will be. But in Indian arm wrestling, if I continue uploading on my Hindi channel, I can get million subs in like 3 years maybe. But that's not where my expertise and interest is as of now. And this English channel also gives much more financial incentives to continue here. Realistic sub count, million subscribers, I'll say. Who wins Bowen versus Larry? I already answered that. What happened about Devon versus Dennis match? So Devon Larratt pulled out of that match. He said that he won't be ready for Denis Cyplenkov. That's the answer in short. And the other reason was that he has some other plans with his sponsors, White SL Biologics, and he also wants to think about building a facility where he wants to have camps for arm wrestling training where people can train together and stay together. These are the two reasons why Devon cancelled that match or postponed that match indefinitely. That was the word that I was looking for early on. Jerry is not top 10. I answered that. Where is Dimitri Trubin? Interesting question. I don't know that clearly, like with facts. He's he may be in his country, obviously. And the reason why he isn't showing up, because we have seen a constant decline in his abilities. Yes, in 2018 or 19 top 8, whatever it was, he got beat pretty bad by Levan and then by Vitaly Laletin, which was expected. He was expected to lose to those guys. Before that, 2018, I think it was, or 17, he lost to Dave Chappie as well. So he was already on kind of a losing streak, so to speak. After that, when he competed in a left arm tournament, Igor Mazurenko was already also there in 2021, I think it was. I don't know what the tournament was, but he was arm wrestling left-handed, and the other guy took his wrist. He was desperately flop pressing, and he tore his pectoral muscle in that match. Although he won, but he tore his pectoral muscle. After that, we saw even further decline in his performance. Then when he went to the AMC 1 tournament, 85 kg Georgi Tortiev beat him in the finals. Dimitri Trubin is one arm wrestler where everyone says that when he was light, he was swift, he was moving well, he was destroying John Brezink. So that was a very young guy in his early 20s. He destroyed John Brezink while weighing about the same as him. And then when he got juiced up, all bulky, over 140 kilos, his decline started. And him and Zoloev, those two arm wrestlers, it's kind of unfortunate to say, but I think their era is over now. I don't think they are ever going to return to that peak shape now. They will for sure never be number one in the world again. Same goes for Zoloev. Trubin, I don't think he was ever number one, but he's not going to be back to his peak shape. I think the era is over now. Who is next for Devon? I think I've answered all of the questions. 15 minutes already into the video. Thanks for watching this. Like it if you really enjoyed this Q&A part 10. And if this video gets anywhere around 5,000 views, I'm going to continue to do this